Hi everyone. So this will be the start of episode 3 of the Passive House. This will be day 14, I guess, because when I was off at Moraine Lake, Colin and Adam stayed and worked for a couple days, so they got a little bit done, the rest of the blue skin on and the edges of the plywood trimmed. So we'll go check it out and see what else we're doing today. So it looks like we'll just have a little bit more blue skin to do on this side. And possibly over here, I'm not sure how far they got. Yeah, it looks like the top course along this front side and that other side. It's a little bit muddy down there, but put on our rubber boots and it won't be too much of a big deal. But yeah, the floor deck looks really nice. And the roof package arrived, so I think what we're gonna do today is finish up the blue skin and start sanding the walls, and then sometime once the walls are stood later this week, we'll put the trusses up and sheathe the roof. So this should be an exciting episode. So we got all the blue skin finished and a little bit of it backfilled. And we are just going to start getting ready to set some walls here. So we got the whole house standing. My time lapse yesterday shut off on me. I think it's got something to do with the heat. My phone sits in the sun and it overheats and it shut off. But we got a lot of the walls, so I guess that shows the point of what we're doing. But now we're just going to be working on getting the top plates on. Putting bracing to hold everything steady until the trusses come. Probably do those this afternoon, but we'll tie everything together with the top plate. We already got some started over there, but we'll carry that through. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty big house. So what I'm doing right now is pulling the geocases that were used to strengthen the wall for these lifting points. They serve no other purpose other than for lifting, so I can pull them and reuse them somewhere else. So we got the girder truss up. The wind has really picked up, so there's going to be a lot of wind noise in this video, but nothing I can do about it. So that's up there, and then the trusses will be joist hangered, and they'll hang off of that. Okay, so we're just getting ready to start putting up trusses here. So it's pretty windy today, but we'll see how we do. So we're putting the trusses up here, and I just gotta catch this, so come gable and together. Once this ribbon's full, I'll grab a full-length 2x4 and put it further up. Just keep going down this way. Well, we're going along good with the trusses here. We got our long ribbon up on the top, and we got a ribbon along the bottom cord of the trusses just to hold them nice and steady, and then it's braced down to the floor. So since it's so windy today, we wanted to brace everything really well, and it's pretty solid up there, so it's nice to walk on and everything, so it shouldn't be affected too much by the wind. Okay, so quick truss update. Everything's going along pretty good. Still really windy, but we've kind of got a system going where we just don't really let the wind affect us, and we still do it. So yeah, it's coming along. So another quick truss update. We're just on the other side here. We got that side done. Working on the ones that sit into the hangers on the girder truss. And I think the wind has actually picked up, so we've slowed down a little bit, but nothing too concerning so far. Everything's looking good. So we just finished up the trusses for today. We're just putting some ribbons on the bottom. And we got this whole line done pretty much. And then tomorrow we'll just have to work on these little progressive trusses that'll form the gable and valleys. And then there's some more trusses for this front room. But we got the majority of them done, and it's really starting to look like a room in here from the bottom with the trusses up. We're kind of able to keep our tools in here now, and it's really starting to turn into something. So now that we've got the walls up, I'm just gonna get Colin to do a quick explanation of kind of the idea behind these near passive walls.
Okay, hi, Austin. So now that we got the main passive wall assembly up, I can sort of go through this and show people how different this is compared to conventional construction. One of the things you'll notice right away is a bunch of blue tape everywhere. So it's not common to see plywood on the inside of walls, but these walls are approximately 10 inches thick. And the plywood acts as a vapor retarder and an air barrier. So what we're trying to do is stop air but still allow vapor to pass through depending on seasonal pressures. And the Tescon Vanna seals all of our seams. So once we get the roof assembly framed, sheathed, and then the metal panels put on, we'll be able to put an Intello membrane on the top or on the ceiling and tape that and tie it into our air barrier on our walls. Then we can actually commence to sealing our air barrier by taping our wall to floor connection, as well as every seam on our subfloor. In this particular house, we're going to do a hydronic floor system on top of this subfloor. So you'll have nice, even water heat throughout the whole house, even though I don't think you're going to need to use it that much. I don't know if the boiler is going to get much of a workout. What else can I tell you? On the outside of these walls is a special membrane by Proclima. It's called Solitex Mento Plus. And this allows moisture to pass through each way and still creates a protective barrier for any kind of water that might infiltrate the siding if that happens. All of this stuff comes from Germany. So, is there anything else you're wondering about, Austin?
Maybe just tell people a little bit about this strapping system, what its purpose is.
Oh, sure, yeah. So this is a batten, counter batten system, and this allows us to dense pack these walls full of cellulose insulation and still gives a bit of breathing space. Plus it allows any kind of moisture infiltration to pass through and out without getting into the building. Another thing is on our plate assembly, we've decided to break it with a thermal break, just EPS styrofoam. And what this does is blocks any kind of cold thermal bridging that would come through, and it makes the wall that much more efficient. Yeah, so there's still a lot of tape work that we have to do, but before we start that, we have to get everything closed in and get everything nice and dry and controlled before we go to apply the rest of the air barrier, air sealing tape. Other than that, things are going along quite smooth considering we just started this 2 weeks ago. We're doing okay. And the fact that we started in the mud.
Yeah, that was a bit difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't the most hospitable or easiest conditions to work in. Any other questions, Austin?
I think that pretty much covers the walls for now. I guess we'll commence framing the roof. So we got our gable eave assembly made, and we're just gonna set that right along this edge here. We pre-built it on the ground, and then we'll just sling it up and set it in place with the handler. It's a lot easier that way than trying to piece everything together up in the air. Well, it's starting to rain on us here. We got a lot of these trusses up in the front, but we're just gonna take a little bit of a break and see if this rain passes and maybe come out again this evening and see if we can get that side up and ready. So just to kind of quickly go over how we build one of these gable and wall assemblies. We just nail up the ladders. That's what Adam's doing right now. And then we take the gable end piece and we hold these up and just set the ladders and butt the 2x4 end into here and nail it up, and then screw down through the center of these where the gable end truss will go. And then we have a whole unit built on the ground and we can just fly it up there and set it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over a little bit how we do these progressive trusses. So we got a string line set up on the ridge to show us where it's gonna end up over there. And then basically what a progressive truss is it's a series of smaller and smaller trusses as they go. And the bigger ones go here and they just get spaced 2 feet apart all the way up to connect these gables, and then it creates a valley down there, and this string line indicates where the ridge will go. So we just follow that and space them 2 feet apart and nail them all up, and that creates our valley and gable connection. Okay, so we just put this gable assembly up. That was the one we were working on earlier in the video. I didn't get a chance to film it because I was driving the handler, but we got those progressives all up, and we'll do the other two tomorrow morning. Well, this would be the start of day 17. So what we're gonna do today is just kind of finish up some stuff in the trusses, put some more ribbons on the bottom to connect the bottom cords and make everything all stable. And then we'll put these two trusses in, and we'll just work on some blocking in the valley and just little stuff like that to get it ready to sheathe. So now what we're gonna do is extend this ladder. For some reason, it wasn't long enough. I don't know if they just gave us the wrong pieces or what, but that's no big deal. We'll just go ahead and extend it. So when I was coming down off the roof there, I dropped my new tripod that I just bought yesterday and broke the clip off, but that's not really a big deal. These clips are really cheap. It's just the tripod, but this is a separate piece, so no more time lapses for this episode, but I'll get a new one of these and hopefully be ready for next week. So now that I got that ladder extension finished, I'm just taking some 2x3 that we're gonna use for ribbon. And I'm kind of doing this by myself, so I don't have anyone to pass it up to me. So what I do, before I go up, I just take what I need from the bottom here, set it up there, and just kind of throw it up. And then I can, when I get up there, I can come pull it through and grab it. So what we have left to do for today is just to put in some blocking in the valley, because it's such a long span with the plywood running on an angle. It's about a 32-inch span it'll be, so it just needs a bit of extra bearing to keep it solid. And while we're waiting for the other material package to come for the garage, we'll work on that, and then we just have to do a beam pocket in one of these walls, and the other one we'll just put a column up. And I'm pretty happy because I found out that this wall actually has a double stud on the end, so we won't need to take everything apart to put another stud in there for the beam to bear on. So we'll just notch it out and it should be good. Okay, so the Rona guys just arrived with the material, so I will unload them and set it somewhere over there and then get back to working on the house. So we got this blocking done along the valley, and now we're gonna go, the beam was delivered, so we're gonna go measure that up and see what to cut the beam pockets at. So I just got this beam pocket carved out here. The beam is gonna sit flush with the strapping, so it'll be bearing nicely on this double stud. And I left this flap of Mento just in case we need to tape, and just in case we need it. But that's the beam pocket for there, and then on that side I'll just build a double column of 2x6. So we got the beam put together out of the LVLs. For the joint we just staggered them and then fastened them with progressively longer GRKs, so it gets a nice bite into there, and that's a really strong connection. We were trying to square it, and it took both me and Adam all the energy we had to just get it we can this week. We'll be back on Monday to start up again, but everything's starting to come together. So I think I'll leave it there for episode 3. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date with the passive house and what we're doing here. And I hope you enjoyed this video, this episode. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.